right. So Q&A session two. Um, Emily and I have been getting to know each other a little bit better, but we're gonna get into the mushroom talk for the night. And yeah, I just really wanted to show you some things that I've been working on. So, um, well, actually, Emily, so you were you able to order your mushroom lab?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. So it's on its way, and
Oh,
I'm super
cool.
excited.
That's so
Yes.
exciting. Yeah, I'm gonna get some stuff from them too. Just some extra stuff because so with we're gonna get into all the mushroom strains and everything, but certain types of mushrooms like certain kind of substrate. So some mushrooms are like dung loving, manure loving mushrooms. Some, instead of manure, you can use like cocoa coir, which is the hulls of a coconut and just like really shaved down. And then that's mixed with something called vermiculite, which is a soil amendment usually, but it helps. Um, I think it really works to aerate the cocoa and then gypsum in there, and then the mushrooms eat all that and then they produce. But other mushrooms like wood, and so you can use straw or wood chips. And so there's a lot of different ways you can go. Like this workshop, I'm kind of just wanting to show people like the potential. There's so much potential for so many directions to go. And so um, I've mostly just worked with the cocoa, but this year I'm going to be trying logs. So I'm going to maybe inoculate wood logs with shiitakes. And then I also am going to try straw because I think the lion's mane likes, well, lion's mane likes wood, but anyway, the way lion's mane grows, it kind of like, have you ever seen it growing on a tree?
I know. I don't, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so lion's mane, oh, if I had a picture, um, real quick, I'll just show, um, let me see if I can find one real quick and share my screen. Oh yeah, okay. So I'm so excited to grow lion's mane this year. And this is, can you see that?
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
So that's how it grows sort of off the side of a tree like that. Like,
Oh,
and so I'm thinking of having a bunch of bags because you can grow your mushrooms in bags or like a bin.
uh-huh,
Like that one there. That's so cool.
uh-huh.
Um,
Wow.
oh, so if oh, oh well. Freaking ads like we were talking about
I
before.
know.
Anyway, they grow so that you can have them in a bag or even a bucket. I've seen them grown, and you puncture holes into the side, and then the mushrooms just push themselves out.
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
yeah, so usually when I'm working with the magic variety for research purposes,
Uh-huh,
I use a monotub. And so I'll close this real quick. But a monotub is basically a 66 quart container, um, which this is an old one that I have that's it's kind of dirty right now, but you see it's a
okay.
66 quart container and you fill it up about this high with the substrate, and then the mushrooms
Okay.
have plenty of room to grow and they
Okay.
create a full canopy all along there. And so you're just pick, pick,
Mhm.
pick, pick, pick right out of there.
Uh-huh.
And then you soak it like we do for the mushroom bags, and you can get like 3 or 4 flushes off of them. And so a
Wow.
flush just means, it they all the fruiting bodies come up, and then um, you harvest and then you soak the substrate itself, and that just that water it needs to fruit all again. And
Wow.
they'll do that basically until their food source is gone. And so you'll see that the mycelium has moved its way all through the substrate, and then it basically just goes through a cycle. And then you can just compost that or put it in your garden bed or whatever. Um,
Wow.
so it's got its life cycle.
Yeah.
And um it's just so fun. I just love this work so much because, really watching them grow. And then when you have the fruiting bodies, it's so triumphant to actually
Yeah,
harvest
I
your
can't
own
wait.
fruits. It's
Yeah, yeah,
just
I can't wait. It's so cool.
so magical. And then when we get into the wild foraging, that's just like so fun too, because you find certain trees, that the mushrooms could potentially be around. And
If I went, I live in we were talking about, sort of areas of living. It is more urban, but there are some like trails where I could, I take the dog and stuff to go walk. Is there potentially like if I walked, I mean, now, if I knew what to look for,
yeah,
could potentially be like in and
yeah.
around.
Yeah,
Really?
because
Oh,
things like turkey tail mushrooms, um I'll show you those real quick too since we're here. Let me share real quick. We'll do share the screen. So turkey tails. uh,
literal turkey tail.
These
Oh.
are very common.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like I've probably seen those. Maybe didn't pay any attention to them, but
Yeah.
yeah, it looks more
And
familiar.
so there are some lookalikes that are not medicinal, but the turkey tails, I'll teach you quickly. It's more like this one in the middle. The top of them are velvety like, and
Oh.
it's kind of a gradient color. It has like a little purple, brown.
Uh-huh.
They're gorgeous up close because you can see it. They're like velvet almost. And then
Wow.
underneath them, you want them to be white. And so that's like a sure sign that that is a turkey tail mushroom.
Gotcha.
And so you can harvest them and then they're not really good edible, like to eat straight
Yeah.
away, but you can dry them and make them into tea or
Okay.
tincture,
Oh.
hmm or powdered even,
Oh,
and put
okay.
them into capsules and eat
Oh,
them that way. But
yeah.
turkey tails are an amazing immune booster.
Oh,
So is lion's mane, actually. Lion's mane is known for like just health and wellness, but also really good for brain health. And so I've harvested tons of turkey tails over the years, but the lion's mane is something I'll be growing for the first time. And
wow.
yeah, so I I think I'm going to be doing it in bags or buckets, but I'm going to show you guys my process because this is kind of a learning experience for me too. Just the ones I've never grown before. I'm used to the magical, and so um, I wanted to show you. It was like 10 days ago. Oh, no, let me think. We're probably going on 2 weeks now. Oh, what's the date? 2/20. So today's the 5th. So that was like what? Almost 15 days. Yeah, like maybe 2 weeks ago. I started, I made agar, my own agar plates, and I inoculated some. And it's just cool because each strain is so different. And
Oh,
so, and the method, the medium that I used. So I had spores and I scratched this plate with the spores.
huh.
Can you see them there? It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
that black.
Yeah.
Yeah, pardon my finger. That's the spores. And so
Okay.
they just take a really long time to get going. So I think you may
Mm,
have been the one who asked me the question in the master class where like how long does it take for me to get
yeah.
the mushroom? Well,
Yeah.
it's a hard question to answer because it
Uh,
just depends on what stage you're
uh,
at or where you start. And so these were started on 2/20 and there's no mycelium growing yet. And so I
uh,
just have to wait until it
uh,
starts.
for
Eventually, the
the
mycelium,
bag that you got, you
yeah,
said was like
that thing
moving in. Yeah.
went so quick. And so I have that here too. And I've got, so there's more little, there, can you see them?
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the second flush is coming through.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
every day I kind of fan it
Uh-huh.
like that. But
Cool.
so I received a liquid culture, which looks like this. I think I showed
Okay.
this before, but this is a liquid culture, and you can buy
Okay.
these on spore swabs this way.
Yep.
Um, and I put it on the mycelium. or I
Okay.
put it on the agar, excuse me. And this is the way the lion's mane is growing. So that looks all healthy to me.
Uh-huh.
The reason we put it on the agar is to make sure there's no contamination. And so a contamination would be some like weird splotch of green or yellow or red, pinkish.
Uh-huh.
And I'll give a full list of like potential contams, what they could look like,
Okay.
contaminations. But this looks good. It's just splotchy. It's
Yeah.
like must have just been the way I squeezed it onto here
Uh-huh.
because I want to show you a comparison. Um, this one I did the same day, and I took a piece of my psyllium that was on agar. So I had gotten a plate that was like this in the mail. I had ordered an agar plate. Let me
Okay.
take this out real quick. I had ordered an agar plate that was already inoculated,
Uh-huh.
and I took a little sample of it and put it on agar so that I could see how, so I could see like, just to make sure there's no contams. And then I will go further with that. So I had that and I put it only 2 weeks ago onto this and it went
Oh.
crazy. There,
Oh,
that
wow.
that mycelium is nuts in there. It's so aggressive. And this is king blue oyster.
Huh. And so what's the next stage
Yes, so
after that?
that's what I'm going to show you. So, okay. So once you have this and it's
Yeah.
fully colonized, then you're going to want to put it into grain and create grain spawn. And so this is for module 2, but I really did
Okay.
want to kind of show you guys the
Okay.
process because I realized I haven't yet, and it's better to like be conscious of what the process is.
Yeah.
So I'm a jar girl. This is
Uh,
just the way I learned. But people use either jars or bags because you can get these bags that you can sterilize too. Um, and so I just used the jars because it was successful for me, and I didn't have great success with the bags. I'm gonna try them again during this workshop
yeah. Just see.
just to see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna order some actually from Twin Flames Mycology because they make them already sterilized and then you can just inoculate them. You can
Uh-huh.
just poke a hole in them with this
Uh-huh.
and squirt it right in.
Yeah.
Or you can add a piece of the agar and
Uh,
put it in there. Those are two ways to get to the same place.
mhm.
Um, and so I sterilized this. This is rice. I feel like rice is the easiest grain to start with. Um, Birdseed is another grain that you can use. Just like a, everyday
Channel.
bird
Yeah.
blend with like sunflower seeds in it and millet and whatever else they put in there, but just like a normal blend. You can use popcorn. You can use millet. And so rye is the one that people think you get the most uh, harvest from, like it's the densest food source or something. But I've had a really hard time with rye. I've had jars and jars go bad because if you don't soak it in just the right way, they have something called endospores, and the endospores can have contaminant in them, and like you don't find out for months later. And so some people swear by rye grain. I've had little success with it. I think it's really hard to do. And lately, I've just been using brown rice because it's simple. And I found a really cool guy on YouTube who lays it all out for you. I shared the video in the brown rice tech. I did it myself and to show you guys, but then I referenced his video because he did such a good job on it. Um, it's just easy and cheap, you
Cheap.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
get a
Simple.
50-pound bag of it, and
Yeah.
it's like,
And
it's
you can
not a lot
use
of
it
money.
for dinner. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Long
Yeah.
grain white rice.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so you do this. And then you take you can you can use this and put it right in the top. You can poke a hole. So you put filter stickers on this, which I
Uh-huh.
explain in the video,
Uh-huh.
but you stick this right in there and you can squeeze some in, or you can cut a piece of this and in your still air box, you open this up and just put a little piece in with your scalpel,
Okay.
which I also explain all this in the how-to video, but that's just a little
Uh-huh.
scalpel. You just can easily,
Yeah.
yeah, you just slice it up.
Yeah.
You want to have rubbing alcohol on hand. Isopropyl alcohol 70% is better than the 99%. I don't know why. It's more sterile for some reason, so it's better to use. So, um, the same day that I inoculated this, I put some in grain too, and it's already colonized.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like maybe like 4 days ago, it was half colonized. And when they're half colonized, you break them and shake them so that the mycelium can get to the rest of it. And
Uh-huh.
it went so fast. This king blue oyster is like
Wow.
blowing my mind. This was all, this is all rice that's been
Yeah,
eaten
yeah.
up. And if you
Wow.
leave these in here long enough and kind of abandon them, neglect them, little mushrooms will pop out. But it's like sad because you're like, oh, they just need more food. And
Yeah.
and so um this next step is to get it into my mono tub. And so I'll be showing that whole process, but
Cool.
this is like the second step. So once you have your genetics and you know what you're working with, you put it into grain jars or bags. And then once those colonize, you then make a substrate, put it in here, and your substrate's in there, and then you mix all of these into that. And
Gotcha.
then you
Okay.
let it sit in the dark for maybe 10 days to 2 weeks, and the whole top will turn white like mycelium, and then you know
See
it's
the
ready.
videos.
And
Okay.
so then you harvest, then you initiate fruiting conditions, which means when you start your monotub, I just use duct tape. So there's these holes here that can be made easily with a few different kinds of tools. But you put duct tape on it so that there's no airflow. But when you're ready to initiate the fruiting condition, I just use my scalpel and cut the hole and then cover it with something called micropore tape, which is a breathable tape.
Oh,
And so that's enough airflow for them. And then all you do, so to get this to fruit, then you fan it like twice a day
huh.
and keep it warm.
Huh. Okay. That feels
And
way more doable than the videos, some of the other videos that I had watched before finding you.
yeah, there's like I'm here to help simplify things, and it can be so overwhelming. When I was first starting out, I went 5 grand in debt because I didn't know what to buy. I bought this sterilizer that I just was like, oh, I was actually trying to keep it a secret from my housemate what I was doing. And so I bought an electric sterilizer for $1,000. But, instead of being out in the kitchen using my pressure canner, and
Yeah.
so he knew eventually what I was up to. And so I just started doing it out in the kitchen, but
Yeah.
eventually my electric sterilizer stopped working right, and then I didn't know how to calibrate it, and I just feel like the stovetop one is easier. And also it's $150 compared to 900
Yeah.
whatever. They were
Yeah.
like, oh, the electric sterilizer is like the Lamborghini or something of sterilizers, and I was like, well, I need that, don't I?
Clearly.
No, I did not
Yes.
need that.
That's
But so I
I,
was trying to like do it in a back room where nobody knew what I was doing. And I think he could hear me like clinking jars around and stuff. And he's just like, what is going on back there? But this was many years ago. But so yeah, that's the process. And so for the substrate recipe that I'll share with you for the monotub,
uh,
it it's a brick of cocoa. So they come in these bricks that are 650 grams, I believe it is, 650 grams. And you mix it with just a quarter cup of gypsum and 2 quarts of vermiculite. And then the ratio for your myceliated grain, they call it grain spawn. So for the grain spawn, you use at least 6 of these.
Oh,
So that's the other thing.
okay.
The more of this you use, the ratio, like I usually do one substrate to, I do half the amount of this. Um, so yeah, it's 1 to 2. So this would be 6 jars of this to the substrate because it's about 12 quarts worth of
Huh.
substrate that's in there, the substrate mixture.
Mm.
So I usually do 6 of these, but the more the better. So you could even do 1 to 1. And so if you did 12 jars of these,
Huh.
um,
Mm.
that would be more 1 to 1. But so the reason to do like not to do less than half of the amount of substrate is because contams can set in. And so you want to make sure the mycelium is going to outpower anything that could potentially be in there.
Huh. Okay.
A lot of like laboratories use something called a flow hood, and you're very likely to succeed through that because it's always sucking the air up
Uh,
and then things aren't floating around. If you're doing this at home, you know, there are dust particles that are floating around that you have no idea about. And so I use like an air purifier, but your still air box really comes in handy um, to do this more technical work. But when I'm putting all my grain spawn into the bin there, I don't have like the flow hood or my still air box because you need like all the space you can get. So you want to make sure you get as much mycelium in there that's already
huh. Okay. Mm.
going. I
Yeah.
know this is a lot of information, but it's like I feel like the pieces will just sort of go into place for you, as you learn the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
Um, and the other thing I wanted to show, actually, do you have any questions about any of that?
No, not on that stuff.
Okay. Um, and so mycelium is so different with each strain. So I inoculated all of these at the same time. I thought I had one more. Oh yeah. Nope, that one. I think I have one more around here, but I'm not seeing it. Yeah. All right. So this one that was the spore print is not ready yet. But then I did both of these at the same time, and
Huh.
the growth is just so different. This is the
Wow.
king blue oyster, and then this is lion's mane.
Huh.
But you see, it's just like they're
Yeah.
so
Those
unique to the
different.
variety.
Yeah, almost like snowflakes.
Yeah, I started this project where I was taking pictures of all of them when I
Uh-huh.
first started, and it was like, what do you see in the mycelium? Because they,
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they take on like different shapes and stuff, but I think
Totally.
it was only interesting to me.
Yeah.
But this also, I can turn my light up. No, maybe it was up all the way. Maybe it needs to be charged. Um, you can't really see it, but this is lion's mane, and it's in there, but it's really light.
Oh.
You can kind of see it down there on the corners.
Huh.
It's
Oh,
really
yeah, yeah,
light,
yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah,
But I
yeah.
inoculated this the same day as I did this one is straw shiitake, and this one's taken off a bit more.
Huh. Wow.
It has like a pink sort of tint to it, but the
Yeah.
agar it came on was pink. So I don't
Oh,
know if that's why. I hope so. It better not be
yeah.
contaminated. I'll be
Yeah.
pissed.
Yeah.
But then I did all of these at the same time, and then here's that king blue oyster just gone crazy. So it's hard to
Oh,
say like how
oh,
long it's gonna
oh,
take because I did
wow.
all of these the same day. They're different genetics, but like look how different they all are, you know?
It's fascinating.
But usually when you do the same strain, you know, all your jars will look they'll
Relative.
colonize
Okay.
together.
Yeah.
And so the 6 to 12 jars will be ready. Um, but oh yeah, so what I wanted to say also is that you don't have to go as big as the 66 quart monotub, because you know, it's big and they take up space.
Yeah.
Um, you can do something small like they're kind of called shoebox
Uh-huh.
tubs. Um, they call them shotgun tubs too, where they have just like a bunch of little holes poked in them. You know, for people who don't have tools like this, my partner had this like attachment on his drill that was able to make those holes, but you can also um, heat up something like a can on your
Oh.
stove and sort of push it through. And then, or you can take, I think just some like strong scissors could cut those holes as well, or even like a X-Acto blade sort
Uh-huh.
of thing. And the
Yeah.
circles don't have to be perfect, you know, you just want the airflow. But
Uh-huh.
the shotgun tubs are like, they have like a bunch of little holes in them. So I'll show some pictures of that too, as an alternative to the monotub.
Monotub. Okay. But you could, well, two things. One is you can buy a monotub online, right? Like
Yes.
already okay.
Yes.
And then that is different. The monotub is different than the still air box.
Yeah.
The monotub goes in the still air box.
Well, n no, because the
Oh,
monotub is the same size as a still air box.
okay.
So for the still air box, you would just be using that to inoculate your grains.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
it's a place where, you know, it's like a mini laboratory where everything's
Yeah.
sterile inside and it keeps the airflow, like
Yeah.
you're kind of protecting
Still.
yourself from all the
Yeah.
dust and everything.
Yeah.
And so I'll show you proper techniques of setting that up.
Okay.
But that you only really need to use your still air box if you're doing stuff with your agar, like if you're inoculating agar with a spore print, or, you know, and or if you're putting it, if you're using one of your liquid cultures,
Gotcha.
or if,
Gotcha.
yeah, and then if you're doing your grains.
Okay. And then which one needs the temperature like we talked about last week, the
Yeah.
73 degree, the monotub is
The
the one.
monotub, yeah, when they're
Yeah.
fruiting, you want them to be warmer. So
Got
I know some people just put their grains to inoculate, like I said before, above your refrigerator is a warm place, so you could put them in a tub or
Uh-huh.
something like above your fridge so they're not like falling off.
Yeah.
But also, there's some video I recently watched where the guy just has a cabinet in his kitchen that he just puts them all in, and they're warm enough in there. They're just, you want to keep them kind of dark
Yeah. Okay.
and warm,
Okay.
but they don't have to be as warm as the fruiting mushrooms. Although the warmer they are, the quicker it'll probably go.
Okay. 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 For me right now, the figuring out the temperature thing will be the hardest.
Yeah. I
And
don't know.
I need that also for the bag, right? So I have to figure out the temperature thing even for the bag from
Yeah.
Twin Flames.
Yeah. And you know, I think the fridge, like putting it up there, might be the best thing for you.
Okay.
Or like in any warm, if your closet is like warmer or somewhere in your bathroom
Yeah,
or,
thinking that the other room gets a lot of sunlight. And even if I set up like a little mini space heater or something, yeah, I'll have to play around with it. But I think I can get 70-ish.
yeah.
And hopefully with the weather warming up, it
Yeah,
might actually get like, you know, inside in the sunshine, it might actually get a little bit warmer.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And then when you get your box, it has a little QR code on it and they'll explain
Yeah,
like
I saw
all
you
the
did that in that
details.
one
Yeah.
video. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I know that was a lot, but I feel like, you know, it'll all fall into place. I think where the position you're in is kind of cool because you haven't like gone out and done a bunch of these purchases already. You're kind of seeing the way it goes before executing. And I think that's a good way to be because you're not gonna get in over your head.
Yeah. That's what when I first started researching, like before I found you, when I was researching on my own and I was watching a bunch of videos and I realized like, okay, I need this still air thing and then I need another spot for them to go. And I tend to also want like sort of like, well, I want to do it the best way, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
And so I found this thing that was like 1,000, I mean, like $1,000 that for to like where they go and they sit or whatever. And I was like, am I gonna spend $1,000? Like, am I gonna do that? And I was like, you know what? Let me pause.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find somebody who I can like literally talk to,
Yeah.
instead of just trying to glean information from.
Oh, well, I'm so happy you found me.
Yeah,
There-
me too.
There's a really cool YouTube mushroom cultivator. His name is Philly Golden Teacher
Okay.
because he must be from Philly because he
Really?
has this accent.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
he's really cool because he has all sorts of like cool little techniques to like keep your mycelium warmer. I'm just remembering this now. I'm gonna try to look up that video to see if I can find it, but he
Okay.
has all sorts of tips and
Okay.
techniques that
Yeah,
are
just
really
stuff you
helpful. Yeah.
really. Yeah.
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 And
Okay.
I think with your cultivation journey, you're going to find your own way, and the way you like to do things is going to be different than the way someone else does. And
Yeah.
so, but there's no wrong way unless a contamination
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That was another thing of I saw something that said they were just recommending that like you not only is it a cool skill to have, but also that like you build a relationship with the mushrooms when you grow them on your own. And I was like, oh, I never thought about that. That and I so now I yeah, I just love that element of it. It's like, oh yeah, you're like taking care of them until they're ready.
No, I have a funny thing I'm going to share, but when I was living in California, I would put the Mexican radio station on, and I swear the Mexican strain would grow
Oh
so
my
fast.
God.
Like they were so happy to be serenaded.
I love that. Oh my God, that makes me want to experiment with like different types of
Yeah, like
music
different
with
regions. Yeah,
yeah.
because
Wow.
there's some popular uh magic strains that come from like Thailand and stuff. Like, oh, what if you played them like island
Yeah,
music or
exactly. Oh, that's so cool. Huh, that's fun.
well, the last thing I want to share tonight is that you can buy a still air box and monotubs already set up on Amazon.
Perfect.
That shopping list area that I have
Yeah,
on the
yeah, yeah.
tool, you
I've
can
poked
find
through.
it on there, but you can also DIY. So
Okay,
it's up to you. But
that's that's
sometimes it's just easier to buy the thing.
yeah, I think I may like I want to focus on like getting it right in the sense of like
Yeah.
I can actually use my first flush or whatever and yeah, not
Yeah.
worried about poking holes in a in a
Yeah.
tub. Maybe down the line.
Yeah. When you're making like 10 of them.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah. Or like, you seem like you're sort of experimenting of like you're so comfortable with it that like you're like, oh, well, let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens there, and like I think maybe eventually I'll get to that point, but right now I just want to have a have a success.
Success.
Yeah.
Yes. You want success. So, yeah. Because once you have that experience, then you have the confidence to experiment a little more. And yeah.
Cool. I have a question, just sort of in general, if you know anything about or like your own experiences with either microdosing or taking more in and around like your cycle.
Mm,
Because as I've gotten older, my cycle has become more, it's made itself apparent in my, I almost like can't ignore it. And I notice like very distinct differences in myself, like
mhm.
throughout the month. And so now thinking about introducing this other thing of, I'm just so curious of how that may or may not play a role.
Yeah, yeah. Great question. There's a lot of different thoughts around this. So with microdosing, I don't think it matters too much. Like if you're on your cycle and bleeding and taking your microdoses, I don't think that that's gonna affect you too much in the
Yeah.
negative way at all.
Yeah.
Um, but some indigenous cultures, it's it's interesting because I've heard it go both ways. I've heard that it's perfectly fine because you're open and receptive when you're on your moon time to take like a to go on a journey.
Yeah.
But then I've heard other schools of thought that's like, no, you're already in ceremony when you're on your moon time. Like you don't need to add another type of medicine or substance.
Yeah.
And so I I've been to ayahuasca ceremonies on my moon time before and it was okay. And it's just I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It what from the like little miniature experience that I have so far, I got the inner
Peace.
peace
Yeah.
blend from the soul Cybin. Um and so I started and I read your guide and their guide. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the whatever it was called, like the Stammet protocol or something like that. And literally the second day, I was like, nope. And because I read like another option is just like sort of this like intuitive, like what you feel
Mhm.
called to. And I was gonna do a day on, 2 days off, a day on. And on the third day, I was like, no, I'm going to dose today. And so I did. And now so far I've been doing every other day,
Okay.
with also sort of like a checking in. I'm mostly thinking every other day, but also just like checking in, because it feels, yeah, it feels very intuitive of just like
Yeah.
knowing what would feel good and what wouldn't feel good. And so I'm imagining now after hearing you share of like maybe the a larger trip would be similar of like this time I could and maybe next time I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful to tune into your own wisdom. Yeah. Your intuition knows.
Yeah, it knows exactly. And if, the plant also knows, then sort of that communication between
Yeah.
both. Yeah.
I've been learning a bit more about this connection between the brain and the heart, the brain-heart coherence, and how
Uh-huh.
when we get into that space, it's like a gamma state, but we really like open ourselves up to more healing, and it's like a superpower for people.
Mm.
And we so often don't go into that place. And so I've just been doing my own little research recently, and I feel like this is a conversation maybe for next week to get into. It's just like learning that self-trust and ways to access ourselves by really consciously connecting like the brain and the heart through the breath and through gratitude and being really humble, before the medicine and
Yeah.
offering our reverence to it. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's I feel like we all have that and it's like we just live in a world that tells us that like we don't know. Everything else around us knows what's best for us and it's like sure, I mean and also we do know, kids
Yeah.
know how to do so many things when you give them the freedom
So
to
many things.
yeah, to go. Yeah, cool. Okay.
Oh,
Excited.
well, I'm so happy we had this time together tonight.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, yeah.
I'll share the video with the group. And yeah, Thank you for your
Cool.
presence and
Cool.
being
Thank you so
just
much.
great.
Yeah, so interesting. Yeah.
We'll talk soon.
Good. Okay.
All right.
Bye. Have a
Bye.
good night.
You too.